So, Transformers Legacy has been absolutely killing it in my opinion, bringing a strong continuation to the Wolf Cybertron trilogy's focus on accuracy and articulation, to continue the masses of actually good updated postable Sunbow statues, along with a steady mix of other continuities crossfaded to fit with the design aesthetics that's reached to Prime, Animated, G2 and all sorts of others. This includes IDW's comics, of which we've had a few really good ones in the last year or so. So, may I present the first MrLoubat review? One of those, Legacy Evolution, Bludgeon and Tarn. So this mold is a fairly recent one from Legacy Evolution, this year's current line, and I must admit it kicks ass. The sculpt on these guys is pretty lovely, the details are really in depth, and the colours do well to separate the figures as individuals, which is helped by the way that the individual figures choose to store their cannons, with Tarn's on his arm, Bludgeon's on the back. The heads on these guys as well are really nice, with Bludgeon's always angry screaming skeleton face and Tarn's masked deceptor badge. Absolutely gorgeous, both of them, although no light piping to speak of, and Tarn's eyes are a little hard to see beyond just being black pits under the Decepticon mask. Now while this mold was absolutely made for Tarn, with the unique chest plate, the knee spikes, the double-barrel cannon, the slim and limber physique feels a lot more suited to Bludgeon with his samurai motif and all. Now this proportional issue, and especially the shorter stature of the figure, has caused some contention at times, but I feel that it's more or less justified by the fantastic articulation of this mold. There are very few poses that these guys struggle to achieve, with practically limitless legs, mostly unencumbered arms aside from the shoulders being mounted in the chest rather than the shoulders themselves. This is kind of made up for by the fact that he's got kind of inward flexing biceps, which do well to simulate a butterfly joint if that's what you're looking for. Said inward flexing biceps do really well to help Bludgeon hold onto his sword, with some very nice opening hands, I might say. Bludgeon's head, though, is a little bit strange. It feels a little bit rubbery on the ball joint, and there's a couple of points where it's turning where it thoops itself into place. However, that isn't a massive issue, at least not compared to Tarn, because unfortunately Tarn is maybe the worst built Legacy figure I own. Yeah, Tarn's build quality was shocking out of the box. The shoulders, the inward bicep joints, the elbows, the waist swivel and the cannons were all really annoyingly loose out of the box. And that meant he couldn't hold a pose properly, he'd fall over all the time. I hated the thing when I first got it. He also had this massive mound of flashing on the cannon, which I am still yet to get around to snipping off. Now I was able to remedy most of these issues, but unfortunately the cannon's looseness and the waist swivel I just can't get to, and I don't particularly fancy making the clear plastic cloudy with joint tightener, so guess that's not getting fixed anytime soon. Bludgeon, however, got him out of the box and he was solid as a rock. Nothing wanting tightening, absolutely fab. Now the alt mode on these guys is kinda bullshit in my opinion. I think it's fairly accurate to Tarn's tank mode from more than meets the eye. Unfortunately, it and the process to get to it are just not great. The transformation on these guys has a few fun bits behind it, don't get me wrong. The way that the legs bend around to the back to become the panel that the turret sits on, and the way that the head, the treads, the chest plate all swing around is really nice. Unfortunately, the arms though are just very squishy to get situated. So the tank mode is very flat, not massively long. I do like the way that the design kind of steps up towards the turret. Speaking of the turret, it can spin. It's nice, right? The cannons move up and down a little bit and look a bit off and pop off if you try and bend them too much. I'm not a massive fan of the tank mode. There's just a little bit too much bother with it, in my opinion. Like the big gap at the front, the fists at the back, the complete lack of wheels, and the unsatisfying conversion just bring it down a little bit for me. Robot modes, however, are still gorgeous though. If I had to choose one of these guys, I'd probably go with Bludgeon just because of his QC and the samurai sword. I also like the deco on him a little bit more. But that is no disservice at all to Tarn. These are both excellent little voyagers and I'm happy to have both of them in my collection. And I highly recommend they go to yours too.